Denise Richards, Sami Sheen, and Lola Sheen, welcome to Live from Bed.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
I'm so excited you guys are here. So I was like a diehard fan of your first reality show. It's complicated.
Thank you.
And like, how old were you guys at that time?
I don't know. You watched that. It's so funny. I
watched
was like,
it.
how old? Like 2?
Yeah, well, she was 3 and she was 2 when we started.
Okay. That's crazy. And how
It's
many
crazy.
seasons was it? How many
We
years was it
did
on?
2 seasons. So then they were 3 and 4 when we, our second
I don't even remember
season.
filming. That's so
I know,
funny.
but I'm so glad that we have that for them to see as they're older. And now to jump here and she's 21 and
I must have been like 12.
19.
Like, I feel like I'm not that much older than you, but I was obsessed with the show. You did it when you were like going through a lot.
yeah, I was going through a divorce, from
Yeah.
their dad. So lots of changes. I had just lost my mom. It was a lot.
So I guess you weren't like totally burned by reality TV because you came back to it not once but twice,
Yeah.
right? So you did Housewives and now this. So I want to know were any of you like hesitant to do this show? Like who took the most convincing?
Probably Lola.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I've always wanted to be on a reality show, and I've always said our family needs a reality show because like so much crazy stuff always happening.
It's the perfect recipe, like what you guys
yeah.
have going on. Completely. So Lola like definitely took the most convincing.
Mhm.
What convinced you in the end?
Because I am a Christian. I was like, okay, I actually think this is a good opportunity to share my faith and spread the light of Jesus in this industry because a lot of it doesn't have Jesus. And I was like, okay, God, I think this is a good opportunity for me. That's when I decided.
Oh, we need Jesus in reality television. Let me tell you what.
We do. Yeah, we do.
So your motivations are totally different,
Mhm.
right? Like you want to be in this world, like in
Yes, I
entertainment.
do.
Okay, and you kind of don't, or you're unsure?
Only in the way to share my faith.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's a wonderful motivation.
Thank you.
So it was like a family decision. You guys were like, we're in.
Yeah, I feel like we all just kind of like we're like, this won't be a good show if it's only one of us. Like we kind
Right.
of all need to do it, or none of us are gonna do it.
So was there a conversation like, here's what we're going to share, here's what we're not? Or was it like, let's just go for it?
We kind of just went for it.
Yeah.
And I think it's good because I also don't want, we're ourselves.
Mhm.
And there are times, of course, we're probably like, oh, we maybe shouldn't have said that or
Mhm.
whatever. I actually think you learn a lot about yourself when you do a show and you see yourself.
For better or for
back.
worse.
Yeah. I wanted the girls to be free and be themselves and not try to self-produce and,
Mhm.
and I think that they did such a great job right away because it's not easy to,
No.
and they right away, ignored that the cameras were even there and they were
Yeah.
able to just film moments in our life.
I watched the 2 first episodes. It's amazing. Like people are going to love this show because
Oh,
it is
thank
so real. It
you.
does feel so
Thank
authentic.
you so
Thank you.
much.
No, I
That's
mean
so
that. I'm
nice.
obsessed. I'm like already ready for the next episode. But so it starts with you two kind of being on the outs, right? Was that hard to share?
You're saying when like
You and
me and
Lola,
Lola arguing
yeah.
and stuff? Yeah, I mean, I just told the producers like, this is real life. We're actually fighting. I'm gonna try
This
my
is real.
best to like put on a smile when I'm around her, but I think sisters fight a lot, and it's really important for other people to see that because we're not a perfect family. So it was definitely really hard filming when we were arguing, but
I bet.
I think
Yeah.
that's what makes the show so funny
Yeah,
because it's so relatable.
totally. So what were your fears like sharing your life?
I don't know if I had any fears. I'm a pretty open book, and I've
Yeah.
already dealt with so much backlash on the internet. So I don't know. I don't think I have any.
And you've
Just-
done this a million times.
Yeah, but I wanted to make sure that the girls really did want to do it because they've always lived in the shadow of their mom and dad.
Mm-hmm.
And this is them being out here and doing this, promoting. And,
Mm-hmm.
there's always going to be naysayers and some negativity. And to just try to get them to ignore whatever and just focus. A lot of people are sitting behind a computer and
Yep.
Mhm.
always focus on the positive because there's going to be a lot of positive too. So
I can imagine it'd be like you're excited for them to be in the spotlight, but it is also nerve wracking because you know what you've gone through.
right.
I feel like you've gone through the most, like, for whatever, like the harsh part of, of reality TV or just Hollywood in general, like you've gone through it.
Definitely. No, I have. I also think I told the girls and, Alex Baskin, he approached me after Housewives
Yeah.
and asked about doing a family reality show. And, I also we told the girls too, it's a great way it's a wonderful platform, like with Lola wanting to share and wanting to start her podcast and wanting to share her faith and whatever your interests are. It's also a great way to share different parts of your life as well.
So do you guys feel like that you've unlocked a new part of your relationship with your mom because you're now in the spotlight and you can understand like what she went through?
Yeah, I'm definitely, I mean, I think this is only like scratching the surface because she's been in the industry for so long, but I'm definitely starting to see like what she was starting to go through when she started out, and it's made us a lot closer because I always ask her for advice on different things, and I really trust her opinion, and if something looks good on camera or doesn't, like she kind of knows everything. So it's really nice having being related to a mentor in this industry.
Yeah, right. What about you, Lola?
Yeah, same for me, 'cause like I guess I am more sensitive, so what people say, I used to before I knew Jesus, and still sometimes it still affects me. But I know that my mom, she started when she was really young too. So she has a strong backbone now and helps me just not take this criticism, because at the end of the day, it is people who are lost. If they're saying that stuff, I'm like, I should just pray for you if you're that lost.
Absolutely. You should pray for them.
Yeah.
Yes. Which one of you do you think gets more offended isn't the right word, but like gets more bummed out by like comments online?
I would say me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's hard.
It's hard.
Yeah. It's like people like feel like they know you, so they feel like entitled to, have an opinion about you.
People can be so judgmental
Mhm.
and they don't know.
It's so sad. I mean, I'm still really affected by certain things, but
Yeah.
I think I have a way of just like compartmentalizing certain comments, being like, this person doesn't even know me. Like I feel bad that they're even going out of their way to say certain things. So
Yeah, like you think about it, like what it would take for me to write a negative comment, like I
Yeah.
would never in a million years. Like you have to be so miserable.
Right.
I
it's
agree.
pathetic. Like do something
Truly.
better with your life.
So Denise, which one? So I know you like categorize yourself as a rebellious teenager or like 20-something-year-old, right?
Well, not really. I just did a different path
Yeah.
than my sister. So I moved out, I traveled, but I was always very focused. I was always a good girl. Like I didn't stay out late, I didn't party. I wasn't that. I was so focused on acting and taking it very seriously, and I worked really hard. I just was, I didn't grow up in Hollywood. I don't come from a Hollywood family. So I was the first one to ever be in the spotlight, which was a big adjustment for my family.
I can imagine. So I remember like in It's Complicated, you had a lot of scenes with your sister, and like you
Yeah.
said that she followed a different path than you did. Does that help you kind of be the mediator between your girls because they're on such different paths?
My sister and I are 18 months apart. They're 15 months apart.
Right.
And so I tell them, okay, the silly stuff that you guys are fighting about now, I know it might not seem silly. When you're older, you're look back and go, I can't believe we were even fighting about this. And you guys will always have little tiffs with each other probably, and you'll get through it. And at the end of the day, there's a lot of things that they are similar that they don't really
Yeah.
realize.
Yes.
But so I think that's something that they'll still always have that relationship. And I think the show actually brought them closer, and going through all of this with them together too. This is so new for them to do interviews. We just left Entertainment Tonight. And
Yeah.
it's very daunting to be out there and do press.
Oh, I can imagine. You guys are 15 months apart, you said?
Yeah.
15 months, like that's tough because you're in high school together. Like you're just constantly like one
a
after
lot
the
of the
other.
same friends.
A lot of the same friends.
Yeah.
Were you always saying like, come on, Sammy, let Lola play with your friends, like include her?
Yeah.
Right.
And the other way around
Right.
too.
Right.
It would always be something.
Yeah. No. So do you feel like when your mom gets in the middle, it's helpful or not?
No, we always tell her to like stay
Stay
out
out
of
of
our fights. Every
hard.
time
I
she
know.
tries to mediate, it makes it worse. I feel like.
No.
Yeah. I learned it makes it worse.
Because inevitably, like me and my sister would be like, no, you're on like this person's side
Yes.
more. Right. Like you just think that your mom's like constantly
Taking
switching.
sides.
Right. So as far as motherhood goes, Denise, what's a mistake or a lesson in love that you hope your daughters don't make or avoid?
I don't think I've made a mistake. Even, I'm grateful that I married their dad. Even though he and I didn't work out, I feel that we were destined to be together to have our daughters. And that was our journey. So I don't regret any loves. I think that follow your heart, but still be smart about certain things. But I don't regret anything. And I think the mistakes are, maybe, I guess over the years, not ignoring the giant red flags when there's several in front of you, like maybe you should pay attention to that.
But it's hard because you're in love, right?
Yeah.
Like, and that's like such a intoxicating feeling. And so
Yeah.
it's,
And I think when you look at yourself, like you would never do something like that to someone else, especially someone you love. You don't think they would ever do that to you. So
Mhm.
it's also just being very naive I was, but I'm grateful for the experiences I've had.
So out of the three of you, who has the best taste in men and the worst?
Oh.
Well, I'm sure what they'll
Looks
say.
wise or traits wise?
Let's say traits wise.
Traits wise, I think Lola has the best taste,
Mhm.
and I don't know. I guess I have the worst, but I don't even mean for that to happen. It's just
They're
like,
so young.
Of course.
Like,
This is when you're supposed to do
Yes.
that.
yeah, I don't know. When a really attractive man is in front of you, it's so hard to not see the obvious
your
red
heart-
flags that are
yeah.
being waved in your
Right.
face, and like, I don't know.
It is.
Yeah.
No, it
Yeah.
is really hard. So, like, when you're on a date, the three of you, I mean, obviously you're not on dates anymore, but what is the biggest red flag?
Being rude to the waiter. If a
I
man
agree.
is rude to the waiter, I
Mhm.
am
It's
out
over.
of there. That's one thing
Don't
I
you
can't ever
agree?
look past.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think that. I think also if he asks to split the bill, then I'm like, okay.
Fair. Absolutely fair. Like, I feel like we all, like,
Yeah.
you do like the little like gesture as if you're going to
Yes.
split it, but
He
like
shouldn't even let you.
100%.
He should be
sneak
like,
in.
He should
Get
give
the
the card
card.
before you guys even
Yes.
get
Yeah,
there.
I agree.
Absolutely. And also,
So-
like, if they're like not nice to animals or like dogs,
Oh,
that would
yeah.
be like huge for
Oh,
me.
my
Yeah,
mom
that
always
would-
said, if they don't, or a dog doesn't like them,
Yes.
forget it.
Yeah, there's a whole list. If they don't like animals, if they're rude to waiters, if
If they don't
they
open your
walk-
door,
if they don't open the door, if they walk ahead of you,
Mhm.
if they, oh my God, there's
A
so
guy
many
that will
things.
open the door is hard to come by now.
Yeah, and it's
Uh-huh.
sad
my
because it's
husband
like
still
bare
opens the
minimum.
Does he?
door. Yeah.
And you kind of need to train the guy a little bit.
Yeah.
If there wasn't anyone
absolutely.
before you to do it for them,
I don't
it's
think
Yeah.
we should have
it's sad
to.
and it sucks, but
I agree.
We spend our lives training men.
it
Truly.
literally.
The worst thing I think when you're younger is when you had a bad experience with a guy
Mhm.
and you train him and then he's better for the next
Yes.
girl.
Oh my
and
God.
that's what like
I'm-
you don't want to fix him too much for the
Yeah.
next one.
Can I tell you,
she
like,
gets all of it.
Denise, I think that when I'm fighting with my husband all the time, because I'm like one of those people that when I get mad, I'm like, it's over. Like, I'm going to be single now. I've done 10 years of work on this man. Like, then I'm going to give him away to someone else who's
Right.
like this completely housebroken, trained man.
Yeah, literally.
Like, absolutely not. Denise, if you could pick a Hollywood husband for each of your daughters, who would it be?
Oh gosh, that's a hard
It's
question.
That's such a good question.
If Brad Pitt was younger,
Oh my God, I
just
love
so I
Brad
could have him
Pitt.
as a son-in-law and I could look
Just
at
to
him.
look at
Young Brad
Exactly.
Pitt, specifically his shaved head era.
Ooh, me too.
Okay, wait, let me I don't know who I would pick. Well,
Anyone?
him and they're older though.
Right, but let's
Like
pretend they're the same
pairs.
age.
Okay, David
Yeah.
David Beckham and Brad Pitt.
No, I
would
want
love
David
to have-
I'll take them both.
You can take them both. I love that. Was there ever, so like, I'm thinking about motherhood. Like, it's in my general, every day. I say I want a kid from like Monday through Friday. By Saturday, I'm like, please God, no. Like, I want to sleep in for the rest of my life. I'm like, because you'll never relax again.
Do you have
right?
kids?
No, I have none.
You have
This
none?
is my only child, my
Okay.
dog. So I don't have any kids, but I'm like rounding that corner. And I just feel like, first of all, so much blame gets put on the mom. Like, so
Oh, yeah.
often, right? Like,
Yes,
it's just
it's
a
always-
thankless
yeah.
job.
Yeah, it's always your fault. And then when dad comes home,
Right. Always.
right.
Always. Until like your daughter is like maybe 35. And then we're like, oh, okay, like our parents were just human
Right,
too.
exactly.
But having that forgiveness for yourself, like I always say to my therapist to get very deep, but I'm like, I'm afraid to parent with myself because I'm going to be so hard on myself about like being a good mom and like making sure I'm, whatever. And we all mess up because there's no roadmap.
right.
But I just wonder for you, like, was there ever a time or a chapter that you feel like maybe other people wouldn't feel like, but that you feel like you messed up as a parent or like didn't do enough? And like, how did you make peace with that?
I think I went through a lot when I was going through the divorce and then after the divorce when things got really bad with their dad publicly And I was trying to protect them so much by not sharing anything with them and really hiding a lot that now as they've gotten older, there have been times where they've gotten upset with me, like why I didn't share this with them. Why didn't I tell them about this stuff? And I thought, well, there's no handbook for this. I did the best I could, and I don't know the answer. I had to do what was best at that time. But now I see, sometimes I do question, did I do a disservice that I didn't share stuff, or I don't know. So that was such a difficult period, and hiding stuff and pretending things were great with the girls when it was awful and toxic and not healthy. But I did my best to try to put on a brave face and leave it out at the door and be happy on the inside at the house,
Yeah.
But it was tough.
Totally, I can imagine. And I feel like for you girls, like it's like I felt this way. Whenever there was like drama in my family, people would talk about it all the time. And I found like the moms to be so hard on me and like my family. Like, did you guys feel like that? Like, did you experience any like parents that were,
Well, yeah.
you did?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think a little bit of judgment sometimes,
Hmm.
but I guess like I understand if
Yeah.
they don't like know, but still like a little judgment with my dad. But some people weren't even allowed to hang out with us.
I was gonna say,
you know.
I would be like asking my friends
So-
to come over, and they would not be allowed to because of our dad.
It's hard.
It's
Yeah.
really hard.
Yeah, but I also don't blame the parents for not letting their kids
Me
over
too.
because our
You
dad
guys are more
was.
involved than me. I'm like, I'm still, I
No.
hate them.
Our dad was. He would like stumble and drunk every now and then.
Mhm.
And
Right.
I understand.
don't like.
I think they were just
what
trying
child
to
should be around
yeah.
that, you know?
Well,
True,
things
man.
were so public too with
Yeah.
the company he had
Mm-hmm.
in his house.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it was hard. When they were at his house, when they started to get a little older, I would have to talk to a parent and explain certain things
Mhm.
and say I wouldn't let them there if it was unsafe. But it took a long time for, that kind of stuff. And I can't even imagine. I didn't grow up with any parents that were public.
Right.
And so it's hard enough just public. But then
Mhm.
when there's stuff going on that is, all over the news all the time,
Yep.
I can't imagine what it was like for the girls.
Yeah. And
But it's all they know. They grew up
Yeah.
with that,
Totally.
but I
Yeah.
can't imagine what it was like.
has that gotten easier as you've gotten older? Like people talking about
Mhm.
your parents?
Yeah.
I think I've just gotten more used to it.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like old news. Like, not that you guys are old, but like it's kind of just like.
Well, we're old. and it
No,
is
no,
old
I didn't mean
news.
it like that. Just
But
like,
it's
oh yeah,
true.
like those are her parents. Okay, move on. Whereas back then it felt like, oh my God, like those are your parents. But I feel like maybe that's just because like I'm making less friends now. Like,
Right.
like I kind of have like a
You have your
stable
people.
group. Yeah.
And I feel like the more you create your own identity,
Mhm.
the for like
I
when
agree.
you're young, it's your parents are your whole identity.
Yeah.
So like as you get older and you're like, oh, okay, I'm my own person. I can make my own mistakes and like all of that. I feel like it does get a little easier. Do you feel like there was a point in your childhood where you were like, my mom doesn't think I know everything that I know, but I do?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, I learned that
Right.
not that long ago. I
I
found
know.
out.
It's painful.
I knew a lot
Yeah.
of stuff that she thought she was hiding from me.
Mm-hmm. Kids are so perceptive. It's
I
like,
know.
it's dangerous and crazy. But like, how old were you when you feel like you really understood what was going on between your parents?
I don't know, like 5.
Yeah.
Really? Shit. I guess I didn't do that good of a job.
No, I think
Well,
you did. an
kids are
amazing
very
job.
intuitive. Like
Yeah.
you kind of.
I
There's
would
only
tell
so
them
much
I
you
have
can
to
hide.
go to an early business meeting when I had to go to court.
I didn't know
Mhm.
that. See, I didn't know that.
I knew that.
That's
We're
funny.
still learning. So, Denise, I know like a big topic when you were in your last reality show, It's Complicated, was so much of it was about your mom.
Yeah.
And who I know you were really close with. How did losing your mom affect your parenting?
Well, I just wish she was there
Mm-hmm.
for advice. And, before she died, she said to me, because I grew up in Illinois, a small town, and when they were babies, my mom said to me, you need to let go of the white picket fence. It's
Mm.
okay.
Mhm.
It's okay that they're growing up different. This is their normal.
Mm-hmm.
Because I tried so hard to make it as if we were in Illinois, but we clearly weren't.
I get that, though.
And so that was the biggest piece of advice. Plus, she said, like, I felt so guilty when I had to stop breastfeeding
Mhm.
Lola when I went back to work. and it was hard on set and everything. And my mom said, "Stop feeling guilty. You're going to have enough mom guilt the rest of your life. So
That mom
it's
guilt
okay."
is insane.
It really is.
Yeah.
So, but I think changing my parenting, I think I'm a lot like my mom.
Mhm.
So she and I are very similar.
When you were like thinking of having your kids, were you afraid of, or even, I don't know if Sami was planned or not, but were you afraid of losing your career? Like, was that something that you were worried about?
Sami wasn't planned. I learned quickly if you don't use protection, that does happen.
I learned
I'm
that
like,
the hard way
wow,
myself.
this really does work.
Yeah.
But I was so excited, and I saw that it's okay because there was other actresses around my
Mhm.
age that were having babies and still work, and you just figure it out.
Yeah.
Charlie had just gotten a 2.5 Men. It was
Wow.
it just gotten picked up, but I still wanted to work.
Mhm.
But I actually, as the girls after our divorce, though, I didn't want to be gone, and I was
Mhm.
lucky for a long time. Um, Financially, that I was able to be a stay-at-home mom, and the jobs that I did do were my dad was living with us, and I was able to condense my part, within a week, so it would be quick shoots, because I really wanted to be as hands-on as possible.
Mhm. So I mean, you did Playboy, right, with one of the girls? Like,
Yes, she was 5 months
I
old,
love that.
and I can't believe my parents came with me to the Bahamas with her, and I'd get my hair and makeup done at the hotel, and then they would go be with the baby at the pool while I would go
Shoot
on a little
Playboy.
boat to a little island
That's
and shoot
unreal.
Playboy for 3 days in a row.
It's so funny because I remember I was in 8th grade and I was at school and she posted one of her Playboy shoots as
Oh,
like a
I know.
throwback and I was mortified.
I
Mhm.
had
I
to
was
take that
so
down
embarrassed,
quickly.
but it's so funny because now I'm like, it is like such a huge goal of mine to do Playboy, like, because I know they're making their
100%.
magazine again, like the
Yes.
hardcover or not hardcover, but the actual physical
Yeah.
magazine. I'm like, I would love to do Playboy, but I was so embarrassed that my mom did it.
I
I
get
have
it.
been there. So my mom was a centerfold also in like 1970 something, whatever, something. And I'll never forget the first day. I guess there were like trading cards at when I was in elementary school. I don't know like what those were, like baseball cards but
Right.
Playboy. And I'll never forget when the boys in my class were like, "We found your moms," and I was like, "Oh my god,
Would they all like crowd around like one phone looking at it?
terrible,
Yeah.
terrible." Lola, did you have any of those experiences?
Yes, I did. But it was I don't it's not to
You can
judge you,
say it.
but I found out I didn't know she was starting in the OnlyFans
Oh, yeah.
until my friends told me.
See, that's the thing. It's like so much when you're in the public eye, so much comes out like before you're even able to have the conversation like
Yeah.
intimately or like with your family. So did you feel like Denise, like Sami starting OnlyFans, that was kind of like how you
Yeah, I didn't know what OnlyFans was when
Right.
she started it, and I right away saw that she was getting backlash, and it made me so upset for her
Mhm.
because I've done Playboy, obviously, and then when I was younger, I did Wild Things. I did a movie,
Right.
but I was lucky that I didn't get backlash from that, but I was then perceived as a sex symbol, and but people still said certain things, or they would treat me a certain way,
Right.
thinking I was more overt than I was actually.
Yes.
So I understood that, and I didn't. Anyway, I just thought, you know what? I'm gonna join. I was like really angry for her that it's okay to embrace your sexuality, and she
Mhm.
can, you know, I know that makes sound odd coming from a mom, but I remember when, my mom was supportive of the movie I did, and
Mhm.
then and obviously Playboy because they were at the shoot and they were in the Bahamas, but my mom didn't judge me, and so that's how I always want to teach my girls that
I think that's such a gift.
we may not agree with choices,
Yeah.
but let's try to not judge and at least support one another,
Yeah.
you know?
No, absolutely. So Lola, like when you see your mom and your sister doing that, does that conflict with your beliefs or is that, something that you accept?
I would never judge them.
Yeah, I love
You
that.
know, I would never want anyone to feel like I'm judging what they do. I do have different beliefs on it,
Mhm.
but I'm not going to put those beliefs on other people. It's just like my faith. I will share what I believe in, but I'm not going to force someone to believe in that. So for me, purity is a very important thing to me. And so I believe our bodies are a temple of the Holy Spirit. And so, you know, it's not my path, but I respect their path. And
100%.
yeah.
I love that. I
Thank
love
you.
that.
Yeah.
So when you found out your mom was doing OnlyFans,
She wasn't too happy.
just because it was the first time in my whole life where I had an article come out about me that didn't start with
right.
Charlie Sheen or Denise Richards. It was Sami Sheen. I was like,
Mm.
finally, like people are like recognizing me for just myself. Oh, hi,
Mhm.
Taco.
Yeah, he would just like to crawl all over you. He's very
so,
forward.
he's so friendly. But yeah, I was so happy that like it was finally like my time to shine, and I didn't care about the backlash. I was already preparing myself. I was just so excited to finally do this. And then I saw her post something on her Instagram story being like, I don't even know what you said, but I had a feeling she was going to start it. It was like a little like pre-announcement being like, maybe I'll start one.
Right.
And then a couple days later, she launched it.
Mm.
And you kind of took a lot of my subscribers.
I did not.
She did.
I
She
think
did, 'cause
it
they
would
all-
be
they
one
all-
or the other. Like,
Well, now we have our own subscriber base, but at first they all subscribed to me because they were like, oh, like they're a huge fan of my mom. I'm like
Right.
taking advantage of that.
Yes.
And they're like, oh, her
100%.
daughter. And then wait, she actually started one. Let me go to Denise's page. So, but it all worked out. I wasn't actually upset, and I'm really
Yeah.
happy that it's going well for you, Mom.
But to you, that's
weird,
like
though.
you be.
Sure.
It's amazing.
I'm sure people are like, they're really screwed up.
No, I
cares?
love it. So, but to you, you're like, I'm going to do this in solidarity to show my support.
Yeah,
Right?
I know that sounds creepy and weird, but it was more about thinking back when I was her age and starting out modeling and doing things. And a lot of the modeling I did when I started modeling, I did teen, 17, very conservative. And, Wild Things was a huge decision for me to do that. But it was such a great part and amazing actors. It was such as an actress. But I didn't think, oh, one day when I have kids, they're going to see this.
Right.
You don't think when you're in your 20s
No, you don't think about
know what I
anything in the
mean?
future. Yeah.
And even some of the stuff that different parts I've played after that, even they're not even sexy stuff or whatever, but it's a thing, me separating mom from my
Mhm.
business,
Totally.
and it's a hard thing to do.
Did it affect your pricing?
Honestly, no, I don't think so. Like at first, like obviously like with the website, you will have like fluctuates in
Mhm.
income every month.
Yeah.
But like that's just because it's a subscription base and nothing's guaranteed. So it's like up to you to keep your subscribers. And
Are there like hot moments? Are there like moments like in the year where is the spring more popular?
holidays are really good because then it like
Interesting.
spices things up. Like Halloween, you could do like a little bunny outfit.
Yeah.
Christmas, you Mrs. Claus.
And you can make a shit ton
You
of
can
money.
wear like a naughty Santa hat.
Yes, the opportunities are
Um,
endless.
For Valentine's Day, that's a good
Oh,
one.
for
Some like
sure.
red and pink lingerie. Clearly I've done all of these.
I love
I need to
that.
think of new ideas. But
Yeah.
yeah, holidays are really, really good because it gives you opportunity to be more creative because it gets so like repetitive and
Mhm.
it's really hard to come up with new ideas for that. I don't know if you have that problem.
A lot of my subscribers, they love just behind the scenes stuff.
Yeah.
They really
We
do.
have different content.
No, it's
clearly.
true. Like they love just,
You doing your thing.
yeah, they like seeing stuff behind the scenes on set, or me just they prefer me with no like just
Yeah.
how I look at, like in sweats and my hair up in a bun,
Yeah.
and just a little video saying, hey, I'm whatever.
Right.
It's
Like, do you have to be naked for it? Or like, you can be
no.
clothed and people
Yeah.
are still coming?
No, it's like there's
really
just
do
a
like-
personal connection.
Yeah.
Like selfies like when you just wake up, like
Interesting.
it's really funny.
Yeah.
No, because they could see, as for me, that they could see stuff that's where I'm all glammed or at an event or
Yes.
stuff like that. So I think it's more of a personal, it almost reminds me of like back in the day when there's fan clubs where people
Yeah.
get, just different information that they might not get in the public. So.
Right. And they feel like it's more intimate.
Yeah.
Right. Totally. So your mom is not judgmental and like such a beacon for, embracing your sexuality and everything. What was she very strict about? Or is she very strict about?
She was really strict about us dating. I remember I was not allowed to have a boyfriend until I was like 16, even though I had many before then. And like we weren't allowed to have any like sleepovers with guys, which like I understand obviously, but in the moment. But yeah, I think the only thing you were mainly strict about was dating and then us going to parties, drinking, smoking, like the whole regular parent thing.
course.
And I still have their location because I
Yeah.
think it's important for safety.
Yeah.
Which I agree. I want your location and you still haven't given it to me.
I'll give you my location. You can have my location too.
No, I love that. So when your parents were not together, would you guys spend time at both houses?
Kind of, but I think my dad was like, I don't even know.
Not until they were older.
Okay.
Yeah.
When they a little bit when they were younger, he mostly came to our
Yeah.
Okay.
house.
Yeah.
But I think when they're older, as they've gotten older, they've spent more time at
Yeah.
his place.
I just loved our childhood home so much. We lived in Hidden Hills and had an amazing backyard with like two
Our house was
pools
the house to
with
go
like
to.
with water
It
slides and we
was,
would have
yeah.
fun parties. So like I never wanted to go to my dad's house.
No,
We had
100%.
girls
Yeah.
like giant sleepovers almost every weekend. In the summertime, it would be every night. Sometimes kids wouldn't
Yeah,
leave.
it was so
Yeah, we had
best.
friends over for
fun.
weeks at a time.
It
We
was
had these
so
like
fun.
those big tents in the backyard.
We had the
Oh.
same thing. Like while we're talking about how our like people's parents would be like, don't let them go over to that house. All the kids wanted to be at my parents' house because it was like fun and whatever.
Yeah.
I always joke around because my parents, they told us they were getting divorced with like 3 kids over like at the house. Like my friends were over and I was like, and they like called us downstairs to tell us like there were no boundaries.
God.
You know what I mean? Like they were like, you're going to have friends over all the time and we're going to do like whatever we need to do while your friends are over.
Yeah.
So what's your guys' relationship with your dad today? And was there a conversation about him going into reality show?
Did we have a conversation with him? I guess I talked to him a little bit. We were gonna plan getting pedicures and then getting smoothies because we used to do that all the time. And then they ended up wanting to do a lunch instead. So that was really just what we talked about. So our relationship, it's, we have a relationship. There's moments lately where it's okay. Sometimes you get in arguments or whatever, and so I just do my best to navigate that.
Yeah.
So
How about you?
Yeah, I kind of had to put my foot down with our relationship. So we haven't spoken on the phone since July, I think. Yeah, I think I'm just so sick of putting up with shit these days where I'm like, I don't even have time for this and we have not been getting along. So maybe one day we'll rekindle
Yeah.
things, but
Totally.
yeah, as of now, I do not have a relationship with my father.
the thing though is like my life is way more peaceful when we have a relationship and when we are doing well. So I think like it's so much better if I just pick my battles sort of and not say stuff. But sometimes it's like a little hard to navigate certain things. So
yeah.
I'm still dealing with that because like he is my dad and I love him so much.
Right.
And I think that's why sometimes it hurts me because I'm like, or like my best friend, she has a really good relationship with her dad. And I'm like, I always ask him for advice on what to do. you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, totally. Like, so Denise, for you, I just wonder from your perspective, is it hard to see your daughters deal with that? Or is there also for you girls, is there some forgiveness you have for your mom now understanding like kind of what she went through?
Yeah, for sure. I look back and I feel horrible for some of the fights we've gotten, and because like I'm old enough to realize like what she was going through, and I feel awful.
Yeah.
Like that man put
It's
her
part
through the
of growing
ringer.
up.
And as I like date people and stuff, like I just realize like I don't know, like I guess it is a part of growing up, but yeah, and part of maturing is like realizing your parents might not always be in the wrong.
No, it's like once you start to become an adult and like you make mistakes, you're like, oh, because when you're growing up, you think your parents have all the answers. Like they're these like old people that like, should
Right.
do everything right. And then all of a sudden you get older and you're like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. So like, how
Yeah.
did they know what they were doing at all? So that's been like a healing kind of thing for you guys, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I understand it more.
Yeah.
But I will say, like, with stuff with my dad, because I used to I had unforgiveness in my heart towards him. Now, it's kind of just sadness because I didn't realize until now how much I long for a fatherly figure. Like that I'm fully related to, because it's just different. When you see your friends with them, I'm like, that would be nice to see an example of what I would want my future husband to be like, because that is what your father should be.
Absolutely.
You're
So,
so close though to her grandpa, my
yeah,
father.
Yeah.
grandpa,
And
I'm close to him.
yeah, and it was a blessing when after my mom passed, he actually moved in for 5 years.
So nice.
And it was and those years, it was so great for the girls to have such a wonderful father figure. And, I think that's also why I tried so hard to protect what was going on with her dad, because I didn't want to tarnish the relationship. And I have such an amazing relationship with my dad, and I always wanted that for the girls. But
Yeah.
so I always wanted Charlie to be the best version for him, for the girls. He'll never be my father, but
Right.
I wanted him to be the best that he can be, so that he can be a good, parent. Because
Absolutely.
people
Yeah.
ask me all the time about co-parenting. There was no co-parenting.
Right.
Yeah, my mom did a lot for us as a kid, and like my dad he wasn't really present for like 13 years, I think.
Wow.
Like he was in and out of there, but yeah, my mom like I have like 4 animals, and that's a lot. I don't
Yeah.
know
Right.
how,
But it
I don't know
made you
how
who
she
you
did the
are.
animals and the
Yeah,
kids
no,
Yeah.
and
I'm
working and
glad.
everything and birthdays and like you're like a superhero.
Yeah.
Truly.
But now it's like parenting separately,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's how I always looked at it.
Yeah.
It's not but
Right.
that's okay. It worked for us.
Totally. Is it like a mixed feeling for you where like on one hand you're like, okay, I'm glad they see it for what it is now or what it was now, but also the heartbreak that they see it for what it is?
I don't want the girls to, I mean, if I could have it to where they never knew anything that was bad, of course.
Yeah.
I'm very protective of
Yeah.
them. Um, but I do think it makes for them to now discover certain things on their own. I wanted them to have their own relationship and get to know him for him, and not Charlie Sheen, not the stuff that's been written about,
Yeah.
not even, I would never even speak negatively about him in front of them as
That's
much as,
amazing.
Yeah,
as much
which
as,
I'm like, I don't know how you do that,
Me
Mom.
neither.
Because
like,
I even would shit talk him, and she's like, "Well, that's your dad," and
that's
I'm like,
amazing.
but that's your ex-husband too." Like,
Right. No, she probably had her own shit she wanted to
I
say.
did, but I
Mom, I
did want
wish
to
we
do
could
it with
talk
the kids.
shit.
Well, now we can, now that you're older, but you want to be protective. But I
Yeah.
think now things make sense for them, like during certain times, what, I don't know. It just
Yeah.
comes together.
Yeah, it just makes sense. How does that affect how you guys are thinking about marriage for yourselves in the future? Because you
I
never
love
knew
that.
your parents together, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's honestly really showing me like I need to be very, very, very selective with like and very careful with
Yeah.
who I choose to have kids with, because I do not want them to go through this, and I'm not blaming you all for that, Mom. Like,
No.
Well,
I'm
you
just
wouldn't be
saying.
here if I
Right,
didn't meet your
amen.
dad.
Everything is a
Yeah.
lesson. Everything happens for a reason.
100%.
But yeah, I
Yeah.
definitely view that, and I'm like, I'll see certain traits in men, and I'm like, no, you're not gonna cut it. I can already tell. Like, it's really helpful
Yeah.
because I can't wait to have kids and give them a good dad.
Yes. But
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
interesting because my parents are divorced. So I feel like in some ways, of course, it makes you not want to get divorced, right? But in
Yeah.
other ways, you're kind of like, I know you survive after divorce,
Yeah,
Right.
like, and I know like there's a way out. And I think that's also empowering in a way that maybe people don't think about, that like, okay, if I needed
Very
out,
true.
right? Do you feel like that?
I think for me, the first thing that Jesus healed for me was my thoughts on marriage. I was always so scared because I'm like, I want to break that. I don't want my kids to go through that,
Totally.
And so now I put my full faith in God that He'll provide a true man of God that will never leave me, because He will be going by, the truth and the Bible. And divorce, yes, if it does happen, of course, like, you always will be okay. But I know that divorce is not an option in the Bible.
What?
And if it is the one thing there's only one thing that is, which is cheating. So that's the one thing where divorce, yes, you have to get a divorce.
Right.
Anything else, though, that you have to stay together. So it's like God has really shown me that, like, there is someone out there who will be perfectly made for me, and He's already there. and it's just not the right time. But like, he will be able to provide every single thing that I need, and want to, and just desire me, and want to love me the way Jesus does.
Yes.
And he should be willing to do what Jesus did for the church, which is dying. He literally should be willing to die for you.
Amen.
You know?
Truly. I feel like that too.
Yes.
I just love how different you guys
We're
are.
so different because
It makes me so happy. You have no idea.
I was about to say, like, I think people put so much pressure on divorce, and people are so ashamed to get a divorce, and like, I've never been married, so I'll never know until I do.
Yeah.
But obviously it's a big deal getting a divorce, like, for the legal reasons, and like, you live together and probably have kids together or whatever it is, but like, at the end of the day, like, you only have one life. So if you're not happy,
You wanna
like,
be
get the
happy.
fuck out of there, you know? Like, you'll figure it
100%.
out. And I've always had a weird feeling that I'm gonna get married more than once.
You know, I know. I understand that
and, like,
feeling.
I think that's fine. Like, I'll probably get married and be like, I'm not ready. And
done,
probably marry
period.
someone else and
But what if you
marry someone
don't?
else. I don't know.
What if you meet someone that you'll want to stay
And then I'll
with?
meet, and maybe I'll meet someone that
hope
I will
so.
stay with for my whole life. But
you could believe what my mom believes, that it takes a
Yeah.
third marriage to get it
yeah,
right.
I always say third time's a charm.
I'm like, Mom, you can't tell me that like on my wedding day.
Yeah,
like,
and
please,
then-
like,
and then isn't there a thing where, like, if you get married a second or third time, you get to wear like a pink dress, or is that like a?
yeah,
Oh, you
I'm
can wear
sure.
whatever color whenever.
Yeah,
I don't know, but yeah, I don't think divorce is like anything to be like ashamed of.
Yeah.
No, you shouldn't be ashamed of it.
Yeah. No, I just think, like, I mean, the difference between you guys is just so
I know.
incredible.
I
Like,
know.
it
know.
just tickles me so much. For you, Denise, like, what was not harder to accept, but what was more shocking? Sami and like OnlyFans and like the path she's taken, or Lola and like God worshiping, and
Neither.
neither was surprising.
No.
They're both like kind of pieces of like what you
Yeah.
gave them, right?
We were raised Catholic.
Right. I
Yeah.
remember reading that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we were raised Catholic,
They went to a Catholic school.
but
Which one?
OLM.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, we were raised Catholic, but I did find Jesus on my own.
Yeah.
Cause like I think you can be raised, but it's like I went because I had to go to church at school, I guess, you know,
No, I
and like
get it.
Yeah,
I
it's
got
different when you
baptized,
choose
but
it.
I had no idea what that meant.
Yeah.
So, you know, choosing that myself, he found me. So it's like it's a whole different thing.
At least you know you guys probably won't pick the same guys.
Yes, that's
Oh,
for
we
sure.
won't. We will not.
Which is a perk.
It's
That
so
is a perk
funny.
because you guys are so close in age. Like that's, and you guys are both in LA. That's great. Is there anything that you, Lola, you're kind of more new to like the spotlight and entering this Hollywood world. Is there anything that you regret being open about? Because I know you've been open about like your boob job and like your note, right? Like you've been open about surgeries or even OnlyFans. Like you've kind of been an open book.
Yeah, I'm always an open book because there's been girls that I've looked up to where they're lying about certain procedures they've had, and it gives like a false beauty standard. So I love being an open book, and I think people open up a lot to me when they realize that I will not judge, and like I can talk about anything, and like I've met really cool people and I've helped a lot of people out and vice versa. I don't know, regret posting, probably just like a weird
I was
photo
actually the
or like
opposite of her when I started out.
Really?
Yep. Very private.
Interesting.
maybe like if it was like a weird TikTok I posted, but I don't really regret anything.
Yeah.
Everything's a learning lesson. But
I
yeah,
love
Mom,
that.
you're very like, I think I've made you more of an open book.
No, it was after me going through the divorce, having so much stuff splattered everywhere.
You're like, it's all fucking out there. Who cares?
Yeah, and a lot of lies, a lot of this. I was always a people pleaser, and it taught me to just be myself and live my true authentic self. And
Yeah.
my mom actually pushed me for that. But when I started out acting, I was super private. I had my boobs done, and
Yeah.
I never told anybody. It
That was
wasn't
like that
anyone's
generation.
business.
Yeah, you took it to the
Yeah,
grave.
yeah. I was like, I didn't want to. It wasn't anything we talked about.
Yeah.
It was weird.
And now you're like, people are going to talk anyway. Might
Yeah,
as
I
well
don't-
just
now I'm like
live my
whatever.
life.
Yeah.
Okay, so I
So
wanted just to
true.
quickly touch on Housewives. So when you
Okay.
did Housewives, is it something you regret doing, or are you
No.
happy you did?
Yeah, I had a good experience. I know that my second season wasn't so great, but first of all, I'm a fan of the franchise.
Me too. Me too.
And I've made some friends from the show, and it was actually a lot of times it was a lot of fun. I don't regret it at all.
I mean, you have like the amount of catchphrases you made within just like 5 minutes for being on the, or like 2 seasons you were on the show. Like when people bring up bravo, bravo, fucking
Right.
bravo, do you like that? Or are you like,
Oh, I don't
let's
care. I
enough?
think it's funny,
Yeah.
and I wish I trademarked it
Yeah. You
should,
because
Mom.
they've made a bunch of merch off of
Truly.
it.
No,
You could have made so much money.
So did you know what a threesome was before that dinner?
Yeah.
Well, of course they did, but I
Right.
don't
We
want
don't-
people
totally.
talking about it
Back
like
to the
at
friends
dinner.
and
parents that we're
Jesus,
afraid of.
What'd you say?
I don't even
It
know
was-
what you're talking
Oh,
about.
I know. It was so weird, that
Yeah.
part. It's so silly. But sometimes those women like to, take one thing and then make so much out of it to where I'd be like, okay, this is getting boring, us talking about the same thing every
Yes.
time we have dinner. Like, let's move on from the subject and talk about something else.
So now you're in your own reality show. You guys get to speak your mind and like make yourselves known. And I feel like on Housewives, it was more like the kids are in the background. Like, do we talk about
Exactly.
the kids? Do we not? What's said? So I'm so excited for this chapter for you
Aw,
guys.
thank you
Thank
so
you so much
much.
for doing this with me. This was so fun.
Thank
I
you
could-
for having us.
Yeah,
I
thank
could sit
you
with
so
you for
much.
5 hours. Sarah.
You're so lovely.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.